Hi, it's Romy. Welcome to my channel, Aquarius. This is your March 2021 soul story. So if you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, then this is a general reading, but I'm hoping these messages and insights will just give you a little bit of a heads up and hopefully allow you to navigate through what the influences are going to be with a little bit more foresight. Be sure to check back in and see how it continues to resonate for you throughout the month. And we are coming into a time when, astrologically speaking, the stars are being a little bit brighter and lighter. We have less outer planetary clashes going on this month. And you should really feel the sense of relief that comes as a result of that. So we're opening up your reading for March with the energy of the Four of Wands. And I like this because we're also going to be welcoming equinox. And so there is something about the energy of four which gives a still point and an opportunity to recalibrate and to consider one's foundations. Now, Pisces season for you illuminates that second house of value. And one of the messages that was coming through really strong was about this aspect of empowering yourself, but also developing a really important backbone, an emotional backbone and a physical backbone. Now, Mars is moving into Gemini on the 3rd of the month, and that is lighting up that fifth house for you. So there's something that is set to come to life, to get sparked by way of motivation, inspiration, and that can be exceptionally helpful by way of creative or artistic ventures, especially as you're thinking about it from an income stream or a way to perhaps look at your home environment, the space that surrounds you, and really bring that to life. So it's more conducive to you feeling positive, optimistic, and really having that sense of feeling more empowered as you start to command the energy in new ways. So Mars, of course, drives things forward. It's about our physicality, our motivation, and where we really draw the energy. And so in Gemini, things can happen very, very quickly. It's also the part of your chart that deals with romance and also children. So there may be a lot of things that are going to be taking place as that transit kicks in. And particularly with second house, as you're really starting to come to terms with, the material aspects of your life, thinking about the way money's flowing to you, changes that you want to be making. These could also be affected or impacted by way of what's happening with the family, with children, or certainly with new relationships or existing relationships even. But remember, if we're looking at the identification of how you are carving and honing this new emotional backbone for yourself, realizing your true value, realizing that you are ready, in fact, to receive what is right for you, what is destined for you on your path. And here we've got the Queen of Swords coming in the essence of your energy, really inviting you to be very direct and honest about what it is that you need, what it is that you expect. Sometimes, Aquarius, we have to teach people how to see us, how to treat us, how to respect us, even how to love us. But at the same token, those people also have to be willing to listen and willing to learn. So not all of the onus is on you, but sometimes it's necessary to communicate in a new way with a sense of honesty. This is not a month where we want to allow that subliminal or people to try to have to figure things out. She's coming in with a sense of directness and honesty, and that's going to be very, very helpful for you. What I also want to say is that your opinion, your perspective, your experience, this is all valuable currency, right? And so wherever this needs to land for you, especially as we work in Pisces season and you're trying to think about the material world, understand that we're in this knowledge economy, right? Where all of these things are absolutely received in a new way right now. So you don't necessarily have to have all the accreditation, all the certification, all that kind of years and years and years of learning. You can bring opinion, perspective, and experience to the table and it still be valued and people still invest in it. So, if you're thinking about ways to perhaps bring new money income streams or think about the ways that you're working, just keep that in mind, because your Queen of Swords is here to say that you have something really valuable to offer. There's also something being highlighted in and around property, so that might be meaningful for some of you by way of changes or considerations, enhancements, or what you want to be doing in and around that, with that Four of Wands showing up for me. But also something to celebrate. Perhaps you feel like you don't have time to celebrate. There's too much going on. I need to focus on this. I can't possibly give myself permission because other people are suffering. There's struggle elsewhere. But honestly, this is a month when astrologically everything is so much clearer than what we have endured of late. All planets in a direct motion except for a little bit of Mercury retrograde shadow at the beginning of the month. So if you don't take the time to celebrate that and what is going to be some of the best opportunities through the course of this year to take advantage and harness that energy, you're missing a trick. So take some time, however you can, in whatever way that serves you, because that's also what we're going to be building upon by way of a foundation for part of this backbone, because you can't just keep giving all the time, then not take the moment, the still point, the center point to reorganize, recalibrate, and let that harmonization to come back into your life. That's really important. There's something about the sense of a quieter inner revolution that's taking place. The Queen of Swords isn't about wearing her heart on her sleeve. She's not telling everybody and communicating to all and sundry what's going on, within her or for her at the moment. There's some things that she wants to keep quite a closed counsel on, perhaps because it's still in a very transitionary time. She's going through something pretty profound right now, and maybe you're still trying to figure some things out. So it's okay to just be more mindful of that, to be more private if you feel that way. Pisces energy is really allowing us by way of immersing us in that deep oceanic undertow, that we can access parts of ourselves. We can go as deep as we need to allow that transformation to take place. There is change happening all around you. All of the focus is on you. You've come out of Aquarius season, that stellium in your sign, and I'm sure that had a pretty profound impact on you. I'm sure, in fact, that square of Saturn and Uranus is still having a lingering effect that you're kind of processing and integrating and trying to figure out. So you're in this metamorphosis all the way through the course of this year. And if you need to just have a little bit more of that boundary or that privacy around you, so be it. This is about you perhaps at times feeling like you're not prepared, or you're unsure or doubtful of what's happening, but there's a deeper trust that, that ancient wisdom of the Piscean knowledge is wanting to illuminate. And in fact, on the 7th, we've got Pallas Athena, the asteroid goddess, coming in and entering the sign of Pisces, bringing a beautiful, healing, compassionate, and very mystical energy to proceedings as we build our way towards the new moon in Pisces on the 13th. So this is a fantastic time to really demonstrate to yourself just how worthy you feel about what you have to offer this world and how you feel about yourself, and really setting out that new storyline in terms of how you're going to move through the world and let that value shape the experiences that are going to come into your path by way of abundance and also connection. So Two of Cups is saying, you're trying to find that balance, you're trying to find that sense of unity. You want to come together with the right experiences and the right people. And I really feel that March and into April is going to provide that beautiful opportunity for you to do just that. It almost makes me feel like the equinox, because we have this image that's sort of split in two parts, so whether you're northern or southern hemisphere, on the 20th we're going to invite in that profound shift of energy, and it does have a major impact, and it invites us to connect into the cycles. So whether you're going into the spring or you're coming into the autumn, it is necessary to adjust what is happening by way of how you're thinking, how you're moving, what you're nourishing yourself with, and it just gives you the opportunity to reflect on how far you've grown. Sometimes it can feel a bit uncomfortable, sometimes the equinox energies for me just has a little bit of that vibe of the eclipses, because things can happen a bit suddenly and unexpectedly, and the shift in energy just in and of itself, if you're already going through or have been through profound change or trauma, can just feel a bit unsettling. But ultimately it is a really welcomed opportunity to reevaluate and then just get a fresh perspective. So Two of Cups suggests there might be a bit of a focus in and around some relationships that are happening, and of course we've got the full moon in Libra coming in at the end of the month on the 28th, and so you are going to be putting a firm focus on what's happening and the progress or lack of meaningful relationships in your life. Now that full moon has a little bit of a tinge with Chiron, the wounded healer, so there's an activation of some wound energy, so expect that little bit of victimhood or some issues coming to light, maybe around codependency or things that really need to be dealt with before you can move on and find the opportunity to have a much more level, steady playing ground. But overall, the energy of March is so progressive, and if you have some very clear ideas about what it is that you want to achieve, you're certainly going to find that things should start to feel more conducive. Now, it doesn't remove or eliminate any of the challenges and difficult, adverse circumstances that you might be facing on your individual timelines. I get that, but what we are saying is that this is much more feeling like you have a tailwind. Not everything is against you. Actually, now is the time to find much richer, more creative opportunities and solutions, and actually finding people that are coming to the table with something of value to offer you, somebody that wants to step into your space and really reflect back to you the energy that you are expressing. So that's why it's so important to develop and to harness and to work to empower yourself and develop that emotional and physical backbone, so that you can more confidently embrace some of the new inspiration and ideas that's going to be coming forward to you through the course of the month. Excuse me. Now there is a message here about trusting the impulse. So what I mean by that is it's a very synchronistic, fated month. In Pisces energy, we can link into our psychic awareness. We can link in intuitively, and that can get enhanced and sort of amped up, to a degree that we're not always familiar with. And so the signs will be showing themselves, littering your path, I really feel, all the way through the course of this month. And as you learn that your opinion, your perspective, your experience matters, and then you start to see where these signs and validations are showing up, this is where your Ace of Pentacles come through and gives you a bit of a bolt out of the blue and goes, wow, here's a brilliant idea, or here's just the right person, here's the new connection, here's the motivation, here's the seed that you need to plant in order to create that beautiful mighty oak from it. So something really important that has amazing potential, I feel, is showing up for you. Now for some of you that might come in by way of relationship. It could be getting off to a new start. It could be somebody new coming in, and it coming in very much on a friendship level initially, but something meaningful to build upon is what we're looking at with that Four of Wands coming through. Now you also have Scorpio highlighted with the energy of death. That might be relevant by way of a person or by way of timing. So something that perhaps was activated last October, November is perhaps now getting revisited. We still have retrograde a little bit at the beginning of the month, so be aware that some of the communication or things may change or have to have further adjustments. And also the Ace of Pentacles is that, beautiful raw potential. So don't expect to have the finished article or the finished piece. This is a month where you get to start over, you get to welcome some fresh ideas into the mix, and that's going to be really valuable, especially as a currency for you to take into your relationship, your job, your family dynamic. So your King of Pentacles coming through here and just saying it's worth doing the work, and it's worth doing it right. The King didn't get to his position without, he doesn't cut corners. He's just diligent in his process. He understands what it takes to tend to the land, to work the fields, to cultivate, and then to allow the cycles to happen. That's why he's working in tandem with that energy of death. But what he can deliver is tangible, sustainable change in your life. And he can come in by way of that trusted advisor, that trusted energy. So whether that's you betting on yourself or someone or something coming in that can say, I can help you. I can help you. There's an aspect of generosity and of benevolence as he looks towards the Ace of Pentacles and onto the Two of Cups. Now, it may well be an earth sign that you're dealing with, a Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn. If it's your experience and this is someone that you're having more problematic exchanges or challenges with at the moment, it is set to go through a shift. So perhaps there is some natural ending that's going to occur. It does feel quite natural to me. I've not got like something that's massively unexpected. It's not really the energy so much of March. It's like you're seeing it coming, but certainly the equinox is coming in and saying it is time for the change. We have to allow that process to unfold. But there's so much new things coming in, and it doesn't feel like it's coming through on the negative for me whatsoever. Now, what he does have is focus, and he has patience, and he has perseverance. So these are things that you all need to take on board, particularly as you're thinking about through that second house in Pisces about, you know, the aspect of how abundance flows towards you and what you want to do with that. The Magician, of course, is just like a perfect accompaniment really to the energy of that King of Pentacles for me, because that's giving you the wherewithal, the creative spark, the alchemy to actually just start to play with the possibility of it, but also to actually start sharing it, expressing it. And then, you know, when we come into Aries season, it is that third house, which is all about the way you are thinking, the way you are communicating, the plans that you are making. Now, there is this sense of much more open roads in relation to travel. We've got Mars moving into Gemini, so short-term plans can start to formulate and actually feel like they're possible. You know, so even if it is just at the planning stage, there starts to be a more enthusiastic knowing that this can be. And, you know, that's going to drive you. And again, it gives that sense of focus, but it is true that we need to be honest. You know, we need to be honest with ourselves and the people around us. In terms of what we're seeking, why we're seeking it, what we're doing, why we're doing it. But the Magician also wants you to remember to sell yourself, Aquarius. So whether it's in love, whether it's in business, whether it's, you know, for yourself, within your friendship, your community, whatever it is that you want to share with the world, how you want to be seen, perceived, how you want to have people treat you. Remember, sometimes we have to show people, this is who I am, this is what I expect. And you do that by being really respectful with yourself. But I love the Magician for just wanting you to be a little bit more experimental with things as well, Aquarius, you know. So if you don't get it right first time, you know, March is a great energy for just saying, okay, like let's just try 2 or 3 different approaches, and the right one will stick. We'll find what works. And, you know, that is very much going to be reflected in the language that you start to use, because that second half of March, when the Sun is in Aries, we've welcomed the equinox, Venus then moves into Aries on the 21st. Everything is much more passioned, enlivened. You know, your air, Aries is fire, it's very combustible. Things can really move and move swiftly. So it's important at that time to really harness it. So great if you're wanting to launch, get something going, if you want to introduce a new self-care regime, if you want to add something new to your business, if you want to try for a new job. I certainly see offers coming your way, but it's important that you get a little bit clearer about what you want, because your manifestation is much more instantaneous than it's ever been. Even if you don't think that's the case, I promise you're going to start to be aware. And if you reflect back, you know, over the journey, you're going to start to see how things are revealing themselves and mirroring back to you more quickly than they ever have before. So this is the time to utilize that energy and work with it. But you can be a tremendously powerful wordsmith through the course of that second part of the month and through April. So anything you want to express, publish, write, speak, share, you know, can be very viral. It can work really well for you with Mars and Gemini. So take advantage of that. Also, by way of romance, it's saying you need to communicate, you need to talk, you know, you need to reach out and network and put yourself in, you know, situations that, yes, may feel uncomfortable. Death is a process of change that isn't always one that we willingly walk into, but therefore if you're looking for something that you've never had before, you know the old adage, you've got to do something you never did before, and the Magician's going to help you with that. So the energy of the Lovers comes through, which does link to Gemini, and the Magician for me is very mercurial as well. So we have a really strong emphasis around what Gemini can teach you in the course of this month. And I think you need to pay close attention to what happens in March and the impact and the influence of then what the eclipse season and Gemini season is going to do to expedite it, to reveal more in relation to it. But again, we've got this synergy, we've got partnership, we've got coming together. There might, for some of you, be just a huge emphasis in around what's happening in your personal relationships. Now remember, that doesn't necessarily always need to be romantic, but there's also choices that are coming through here. So the choices need to reflect how you now see yourself, Aquarius. That's really important, because if you've carved out a little bit more of a backbone by way of what you see for yourself, what you want for yourself, what you know you deserve, then you're just going to make much more empowered decisions, you know. Out of your comfort zone is really where you're going to be able to learn and then leverage valuable new tools. So you really need to trust the impulse of when you're sort of feeling like a bit of a fish out of water, because there's going to be something that's going to emerge from that. Now, because there's a huge amount of synchronicity and a little bit of magic that's coming through the magician, but also with that beautiful goddess Athena into Pisces working up to that dreamy new moon in Pisces, you would, you know, be open, or you ought to be open to the idea of the universe just delivering some really unexpected gifts and blessings that you really couldn't have imagined for yourself. And that's the beauty of sometimes just giving it over to, you know, to the universe and saying, okay, like cosmically speaking, I know what I'm trying to draw into my life, but I'm going to let a lot of the detail be open and whatever is for my highest good. And sometimes they can come through with so much more than what you might have been able to even imagine for yourself. Certainly there's a lovely sense of kind of peace that pervades through the reading here, which I really like. And I think it's because you're starting to feel slightly more optimistic in one area of your life. Now, I appreciate for some of you that might find you know, information that's a little hard to digest if what you're experiencing right now is not to that effect. But you are being invited to really address your language, you know, and the thoughts that you're thinking, especially into Aries season with that third house energy, because it has so much power. If you truly understood the power of the thoughts that you think and the way you think them and the language that you use, and whether it comes across as exhausting and tired and jaded and negative, or whether it's inspired and hopeful and open and curious, this is what's going to make the difference through the course of this month. To try to get really clear-minded with yourself about that and see the impact that it starts to deliver. We've got Queen of Wands coming in, might be a fire sign energy that you're dealing with, an Aries, Sagittarius or Leo. Somebody has their eyes closed. And so they are kind of consideration, I think there's a consideration and a thoughtfulness that's coming from them about what you're saying. So I feel like perhaps an important conversation, proposition or something being discussed, but I have them just kind of absorbing, like listening and kind of taking it all in, right? Don't rush the process. Understand that equinox energy is working with you to rebalance anything that needs to be in that instance. But she also comes forward with the magician as a wonderful manifesting energy, unleashing tremendous amount of creative spark, unlocking your imagination in some way so that you can think bolder than you ever have, go further than you ever have, and then feel that you do have choices and options on the table, which you do. The Lovers for me is also about the way in which we take care of ourselves, you know, having that really healthy relationship with how we see and perceive ourselves. And that's absolutely all the second house. So the more strong you can be and the more valuable you understand the currency of your energy, the better the impact and the more signs and gifts you're going to be in a receptive mode to allow to come forth for you, you know. Now, I'm also feeling that interestingly, the energy of the King and the Queen are kind of looking, as are you, looking back. Now, that means that there's something of value that has just occurred, because I'm not looking way back, right? I'm just feeling like this is more of a short term. And I kind of want to go really within the last 2 weeks, within the last 2 months. Maybe I pushed the last 2 years, but there's something that feels like it's got tremendous value, or there's a tremendous sense of understanding, or synchronicity, or a way that something is now coming together, Okay, now I know we're sort of coming out of the retrograde season, but we still do have a little bit of that shadow, so be aware of what might have come up for you in that instance, because all the way through the course of this year, you know, we're going through this powerful reinvention of the self for you, Aquarius, and so we have to draw upon these past experiences, but yes, we also have to have a really firm forward focus. I also think that you're going to be very wrapped up, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, kind of in a bubble with something or someone. You know, I'm looking at the Two Cups, I'm looking at the Lovers, and they just kind of, even the Four of Wands, they're just sort of shutting out the outside world. So whether this is in a relationship or you just coming into a space where you feel so passionate and kind of connected to something, that you just find a tremendous amount of solace and soul soothing and also passion and inspiration. And that's going to also serve you really well through the course of March and might just be a really sweet antidote to, you know, heavier energies that you might have been dealing with of late. So let's just take a look at these oracle cards and see how they reflect your reading. The heart of the matter. There is more going on than meets the eye. Okay, so we can't be in control of everything. What we can control is how we are showing up, how we are commanding our energy, how we are empowering ourselves, and knowing that what we have right now to offer is valuable. And so we have to allow certain processes to unfold. We have to allow time to pass. We have to let other people get on with whatever it is that they need to do in order to arrive at the destination that Spirit has set for them on their particular soul journey. And then there comes a meeting point, a crossroads, an intersection where fate, synchronicity, your contract at a soul level will kick in, and that information gets revealed, and then you meet it in the moment, and based on what you have experienced, what you have gained, what you have understood about yourself, comes to the forefront. That's where your Queen of Swords comes in. You then become impeccable with your word and understand that what you have to say and the energy that you express it with in that moment is going to tell you everything about what you've learned, how you're developing, and the way in which you are growing. Okay, so yes, there may be more than meets the eye, and that Piscean, nebulous Neptune energy could get you kind of wrapped up in a little bit of a haze if you allow it to, but go beyond that, Aquarius. Go beyond that. It really is about you trusting the impulses, listening to that quiet counsel of your higher self, letting everyone be where they need to be right now. Everything will come to light that needs to, that is going to be important and valuable in terms of the way in which you move forward. You can't control all of the moving parts. So equally, don't be the one thing that stops the process by your focus being so directed outwardly that you're not doing the work that's being asked of you inwardly. Okay. Star bathing, beautiful. Light body, crystal grid, transmission, activation. You're going through such a powerful period of transformation and metamorphosis. The energy of death is revealing this through the course of March, but we already know that's happening at a much higher frequency. Allowing yourself time to really connect into who you're becoming, to understand yourself as energy, to allow for the activations to come forth, and however you want to feel that, whether you listen to those teachers and gurus that speak language that resonates with you, or whether you just develop your own rituals that just feel good to you. There's no right or wrong way. There's no one person that has all the answers. You will be drawn towards the people who, from a frequency perspective, are delivering messages and insights that your soul is ready to receive in the way that they can understand them. Okay, so just trust in that process. Allow yourself to be open to the ascension and the changing frequency, and just take peace in the process of this, because even though at times it may feel uncomfortable in terms of what you're going through or observing around you, ultimately everything is happening beautifully, divinely, and in perfect, unconditional love from the divine. Okay, so this is a general reading for the month of March, and I'm going to just pull some clarifying cards now for the extended reading. You can join me for the extended, the link is in the description box underneath. We're going to speak for another 20 minutes or so. It's $8 for the extended. It's a way to support my channel and all the free content that I deliver, and I really appreciate those of you who do decide to take it up, and obviously you'll get additional insights as well. But think about a question that might not have come out in the general reading, Aquarius, and we'll go ahead and just pull you some cards for that now. Okay, I'm just going to clarify this main reading now. So beginning with the Four of Wands, we have the Five of Feathers, which is like the Five of Swords, the Nine of Crystals, Nine of Coins, and the Eight of Cups. Okay, Seven of Coins, Page of Cups, Eight of Crystals. We've got the Nine of Wands coming through here, Five of Wands, and the King of Cups. Four of Cups coming in. King of Cups may well be a water sign energy. I'm feeling somebody that has a lot of sway, but maybe is also quite triggering for you emotionally, Aquarius. Energy of Judgment, release, rebirth. We also have the Devil coming in over that Ace of Coins. That's really interesting. I'll be sure to give you a little bit more information around that. And the Tower, how curious. And then the Fool. Right. Okay, we've got the King of Wands now coming in, crossing the King of Coins. And then the Sun. Certainly advantageous energies working for you, I feel. We've got the energy of Justice coming through with Libra. The Ace of Swords. Ooh, truth really coming to light. So I wouldn't be worrying about this where it's saying there's more than going on, because you will get to hear what you need to. Ten of Crystals, Ten of Coins. The energy of the Star, of course, your sign, beautiful. Another energy of Death. Page of Wands. The Hermit coming through here. And finally, the Three of Swords. Okay. I'm going to leave it there, Aquarius. Thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to continuing the narrative if you're joining me for the extended. Sending lots of love.